What if your life was filled with trials, yet a greater plan was unfolding? Tonight on Voice of Bible, we follow Joseph as he rises from slavery to leadership in Egypt, proving that patience, trust, and faith can turn hardship into purpose. Before we begin, subscribe to Voice of Bible and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that strengthens your faith and inspires your heart. Joseph arrived in Egypt, a land of grandeur and strangeness, far from his homeland of Canaan. He had been sold into slavery by his brothers, cast into an uncertain future, yet he carried something far greater than worldly security: faith in God. Though a stranger in a foreign land, Joseph's heart remained steadfast. He knew that every trial, every hardship was part of God's unseen plan. Joseph was bought by Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. As he served faithfully in Potiphar's house, God's favor rested upon him. Everything Joseph touched prospered, and he quickly gained trust and responsibility. "Where is this young man?" Potiphar would later say. "Everything he does succeeds." Joseph's integrity, patience, and devotion set him apart. Even in slavery, he led with humility and faith, proving that God's presence can shine brightest in the darkest circumstances. Yet hardship continued. Potiphar's wife coveted Joseph, trying to seduce him. He refused, staying true to God's commands. "How could I sin against God?" he asked silently. But his refusal brought false accusation. Potiphar's wife claimed he had wronged her, and Joseph was thrown into prison. The walls were cold, the chains heavy, yet his spirit remained unbroken. Even in prison, God's favor followed him. Joseph interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh's servants, revealing God's messages with clarity and wisdom. His insight was not his own, it came from the Lord. Word of Joseph's gift spread, though he remained in chains. Patience became his companion, and trust in God became his strength. He did not rush, he did not despair. He did not give in to bitterness. 2 years later, Pharaoh himself had troubling dreams. None of his advisors could interpret them. It was then that Joseph, guided by God, was called to interpret Pharaoh's visions. "God will provide," Joseph said. "There will be 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of famine. Prepare now, so the land will not be destroyed." Pharaoh saw wisdom and insight in Joseph. He placed him in charge of Egypt, second only to Pharaoh himself. From slavery to leadership, Joseph's rise was not through chance, but through God's perfect plan. Joseph's journey in Egypt teaches us that God's plan is often revealed through trials. Leadership is not always about position, but about character, patience, and faithfulness. Trust in God gives strength when circumstances seem impossible, allows us to endure hardship, to grow in wisdom, and to prepare for the purpose He has set before us. Even when circumstances seem unjust or discouraging, God's providence is at work. Joseph's life reminds us that no trial is wasted, no hardship meaningless, and no act of faith ignored. As we reflect on Joseph in Egypt, remember, patience allows us to endure hardship without losing hope. Trust in God gives strength when circumstances seem impossible. Leadership is built through integrity, faith, and reliance on God. Joseph's story is a beacon for all who face challenges, setbacks, or betrayal. It teaches us that God can transform trials into triumphs and faithfulness into leadership. Even in the darkest prisons, God's plan unfolds. Even in moments of despair, His guidance is present. Joseph's life in Egypt is a living testament. Through hardship, God's purpose is always being revealed. This is the story of Joseph, a man who trusted God, led with wisdom, and fulfilled his plan through patience and faith.